It's a gift. It's a
it's a remembrance.
Yeah. Would you in the interest of science, experimentation or whatever, would you ever, as an experiment, use it, play it? Because part of my belief is, for someone psychically sensitive or a medium, that if it's like I think it is, meaning a conduit to the other side, well, it would certainly manifest with someone like your gifts playing it. Or do you not think that that's an appropriate use?
You know, if the opportunity came up to play with the Ouija board, so to speak, using the word play with it, or let's start again. If the opportunity came for me to utilize a Ouija board to try to communicate with ghosts or spirits, I wouldn't object to that experimentation or that use of a board as an investigative tool. I think that would be fine.
Yeah, I was just wondering that if you were done, when they're finished up the experiment, if maybe you and Bob or you and Schrader, someone you respected, if you sat down for 10 minutes, who knows what happens? Because to me, I'm looking for that moment, that thing that makes Bob Murch say, maybe there is another side. That's my mission, just be honest. And maybe I will never achieve that, but that's, to me, as long as skeptics play it, I don't think I'm going to get there. Whereas someone who, you're neutral, you believe in what you believe, but you're not out there using it every day. Just thinking, what happens if Chip Coffey played it? Well, if this thing does reach the other side, it's definitely going to reach the other side through him. So that's why I asked the question.
I don't know if that's necessarily the truth.
Maybe not.
I think that anybody should be able, with pure intent, to get those sort of results. If you're going in, I don't know, the Ouija board for me is going to work any better than it's going to work for anybody else.
Maybe not.
I don't know. I really don't believe that it's going to work a lot better for me than it would for, Mary or Joe or Fred or Frank or...
Although if there was entities contacting, you might hear them see. I don't know how it works for you. Do you see, hear, feel, things?
All of the above.
So therefore, if you were doing it, instead of just seeing things spelled out, you may feel, see, or hear something. It might be interesting to see if you get any additional input at that session. I mean, it would be it would rule out, for at least in my mind, some things. Because I would suspect you would get something, even if the thing wasn't moving, if you'd be like, there's nothing here, or there is something here. And I've never seen anybody with that sensitivity play the game, or the toy, or the tool, however you want to characterize it. So that's all. I mean... I'm not, if when we're done and we see Bob and you're into that, that would be 10 minutes of golden footage, frankly, but it's up to you. I'm just putting it out there. So without taking more of your time, let me go wrap up. So when you go on these investigations, you feel that the Ouija board is what and works with by a mechanism of how, just to wrap up, and then we'll kind of conclude here. So.
I've been on a couple of investigations where Ouija boards have been available for people to use. I've never really heard the results of what happened if they were utilized. I think it's another in a long line of possible communication tools that, could be utilized, as long as the people were using them with the right intent and without some sort of fear-based reaction to the board itself based on the bad reputation that it achieved. And I think it's an unfair bad reputation that it achieved.
Yeah.
So maybe it's another one of those tools that if the reputation can be, brought back up a little bit and the fear surrounding the board can be diminished somewhat, I think it can probably be a pretty good tool to utilize on paranormal investigations to see exactly if information can be gleaned from it.
And how about kids, non-psychic kids? It's marketed to 8 years old and above at Toys R Us. Is that right, or is that wrong, or do you not think it's a big deal?
I don't suggest for young people to play with Ouija boards because the paranormal is this great, murky, unknown realm to a great degree. Can bad things happen? Absolutely. Can negative things happen? Absolutely. And, it's dangerous? Not really, but this is kind of an adult realm that, without supervision, definitely children should not, I don't believe, be playing with Ouija boards. I think that any child that's delving into the paranormal at all on any aspect should have good adult supervision and guidance.
Fair enough. Last point. Why do you think the paranormal has exploded these last few years? Is it something that TV created and executives, or do you think it's a cultural thing that we're moving towards more spiritual, age of Aquarius type of thing? What's your opinion on that?
I think the paranormal has probably become more popular in recent years because of the television exposure that it's had, ghost hunting shows and the like. I think that there are a lot of books and the advent of the internet. People are talking about it more. There are chat rooms and those sorts of things. And I do believe that people are very interested in what lies beyond death. You know, 9/11 had a huge impact on everyone to start to look at and examine what really happens after we leave this mortal coil. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that people just, it's always been there. Look back at the Egyptians. They were the ones that were thinking about death all the time and seemed to be very attached to afterlife studies and practices. So, did it ever really disappear? No. But nowadays, I think with television and with the internet and with 9/11 and all those factors sort of coming together in this huge recipe that people's interests are piqued again, and it's become a level of interest and curiosity.
Fair enough. Great. And why don't we finish with, again, your name and how you want to be characterized or listed, anything you want to plug, and to list at the bottom, anything like that, just to do that again.
My name is Chip Coffey. I'm a psychic medium, paranormal investigator, and author. My book, Growing Up Psychic, is being released on April 3rd, 2012. Pretty much that's it.
Do you have a website or anything?
My website is www.chipcoffey.com.
Perfecto. Excellent. So something happens and something very weird or something very accurate happens where a word is found, okay? Would that rock your world, or would that just be another piece of evidence that gets factored in? In other words, could something really convince you one way or the other?
I don't think anybody can ever convince me one way or another that it's a ghost. Again, we don't know enough about what our full mental capabilities are to know that we're not just transforming. I mean, look at twins. They're able to communicate without speaking. Mothers and sons, states and sometimes countries apart can sense when the other one is sick or hurt or wounded.
It's like quantum entanglement. It's right. Like these issues, yeah.
Yeah, you've got this whole entanglement issue going on, and we're all connected. We've all kind of got this spiritual spider web around us that you pluck that web and it sends out that vibration and comes back to you and gives you those little bits of information. Edgar Casey talks of the Akashic Records, kind of this ethereal internet that we can all tap into to download and get information. Is there something to that? I don't know that anybody's going to ever convince me one way or another it's a ghost. Unless I see something manifest in front of me and begin moving the planchette along with me, I think that may be what the dramatic play be that I'd need to see.
Okay, so wrapping up, here we are trying to make the Ouija documentary. Final line, what is the Ouija board and how does it work? And then your name and again how you want to be listed. And that's it. And action.
I believe the Ouija board is something for entertainment. I think it's something for fun, to explore the other side, to explore new avenues of thought and development. I don't think that it's anything that should be feared. I don't think it's anything that should be put away and hidden from people. I think that when you do that, it empowers it more to seem like it's of a dark energy or of a dark place. I think, again, just by exposing it and having fun with it and learning from it and experimenting like we would with any piece of equipment, a camera, an audio recorder, any of the new number of ghost hunting tools that are out in the marketplace, we've got to play with it. We've got to understand it. We've got to see what's going to go on. And if we start getting quantitative production from these that we can start mapping and figuring out around the world, then we start researching it and looking into it a little bit deeper and see what comes next.
Perfect interview. Name, spell it, and then how you want to be listed underneath. So, action.
David Schrader, SCHRADER, host of darknessradio.com.
Perfect. I'm just getting a little B-roll here.
Okay.
Excellent.
Great find on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
We were talking about, Bobby and I were talking about at lunch, and I just said
Those are the ones
the
that,
randoms.
The randoms are the ones that end up being great.
Yeah, the accidents.
These things are like, they're going to be such little...
Right, but this
done,
is the infrastructure, the skeleton of it, and then, the flesh can be things we never even... You should make a mark of the spot. Do you have marks and stuff?
Oh, of this?
It's like, in other words, wherever you're at, you hit and put a pin in. Do you know how to put pins in? And one, and you can just look straight, still there, yep. Okay. And action.
Now, my opinion on the Ouija board is mostly based on anecdotal evidence, because I have had no experiences myself. I have no empirical...
Sorry, again.
My experience with the Ouija board is pretty limited. I've honestly never used one myself.
Off on that end and tied that then into the Ouija board, because I think, for example, researchers should be looking at the Ouija board, even if to debunk it. But no one even takes it seriously.
Right.
To me, if it's a real tool of divination, it should be looked at. But go off on your point. You can just say the UFO doesn't take.
Someone was hacking behind you. So
Okay, where they were.
Like,
Okay, and I heard like the thieves. So we can just take it from you got interested in the stuff that wasn't interested by mainstream. And okay, action.
shh. I can hear you laughing. Shh.
Okay, action.
All right. I got interested in studying the paranormal because there are, most subjects, whether it's ufology or ghost hunting, cryptozoology, they're not taken with nearly the same seriousness in mainstream science, partly because I believe it's difficult to replicate in experiments. And the same thing goes with Ouija boards. It's really kind of difficult from my understanding and people who are really expert in it to get the same results. It's a lot like going ghost hunting and waiting to get EVPs. You don't know when it's going to happen, and I think that reason mostly that people shy away from it, and mainstream science really has not taken the subject seriously.
So you're personally not that interested perhaps in Ouija boards, but it is akin to some of your other interests like UFOs. It is dismissed by the mainstream. Is that true? Is that accurate? And what is your feeling on I mean, you've seen so much phenomena. Where does Ouija boards fit in, if at all?
All right.
You can wait for this, but whenever you're comfortable.
Okay. On our show, we focus on all types of paranormal occurrences. We look into UFO and alien contact. We also do ghost hunting and Bigfoot, whatever it is. We have had a few instances where we've looked at Ouija board cases, and it's really interesting because there is such a stigma.
I'm going to turn this off. Let's make it a little cooler. Yeah, I'm gonna get this over here.
Now it's part. Now we're gonna do each other's hair. Talk about boys. Anyone here would love to communicate with you? Everyone here is friendly. If you can just move this little device around, we can spell out words and possibly communicate with you. You can use our energy, just try to move it around a little bit.
Not supposed to be putting too much pressure on us.
Nah,
Just a little bit.
It's just light.